Hello, hello, colleagues and scholars. I am Dr. E. Jean Pemberton of Endus Education. Welcome to my podcast. I am so excited that you decided to click to watch this video. I have some wonderful things that I want to share with you on tips to maximize your writing for research. Before I get started, I always encourage you to please do me a huge favor. Please like this video. You can like this video right now. You can like this video in the middle of this podcast and at the end. You can like it anytime while you are watching. And then also, please make sure that you share this video with someone who you know will benefit from the information that I am going to share regarding tips to maximize your writing research. And then I need you to subscribe to my channel. That's right. Whether you are watching and listening to me via YouTube, Spotify, or any of my social media platforms, please do me a huge favor. Subscribe, like, share, do all of those things. Follow, follow, follow. Just hang out with me. Your support means the world to me. It's appreciative and it helps me to continue to move down the pathway of providing you with the best that I know regarding all things academics and education. And we're going to grow together. Okay. So I don't know it all, but my plan is to continue to develop, to grow in wisdom and in knowledge in all things education. And as I do that, you can join along with me on this journey and continue to help me to be a better person for you. Well, welcome to my study hall. I'm going to start calling it the study hall because for me, a study hall means that I'm not just lecturing, but it is a team process, right? We are all in this together to become better as it relates to education, to become better as students, to become better as scholars. Now, this particular podcast and recording, I am going to focus on sharing tips that help me as relates to writing articles for publications, or if you decide you want to write for academic books as well. So now I also want to make sure that before I get started, just to remind you that my decision and the information that I'm sharing with you, these are tips that help me along the way. Like anything in life, there is more than one way to get to a destination. There are also best practices that are out there that may not be inclusive of the information that I'm sharing with you. So, we say this in church, just, when you hear someone providing you information, just chew the meat and throw out the bones. Or in other words, whatever works for you, take that, make it a good practice for you. And if it doesn't work, just disregard it and discard it and move it to the side and continue to move forward to be the best you as a scholar, to be the best you as a colleague, to be the best you as you grow in the world of academics and academia. So these are tips that worked for me, and I am still in the process of developing myself in writing for publication. I am blessed, and I'm going to say it again, so blessed to have a publication that is out there. This is again the summer of 2025, and I am going to do a better job of getting more publications out there into the world of academia. But let me just share with you in full transparency some things that I've learned, and also why I ended up getting an article published. It was not because I thought it was the right thing to do or the bad thing to do. It was introduced to me. Getting an article published was introduced to me by my professor, Dr. Bell, from Prairie View A&M University. So shout out to PV and shout out to Dr. Reginald Bell, who is an amazing professor. He was our professor in my program, my MBA program, and he offered and asked his scholars, all of us who was in his class, those of us who were working on his assignment, if we would like to publish. And so we were all part of teams, and my team, we all got together and we did want to publish our work. And so he worked with us on, first of all, we had to do our own putting together the information, doing our own research, making sure that our paper, our assignment was, met the requirements of Dr. Bell for the grade. And then once that was completed, the assignment was completed, he helped us to move forward to convert our paper into a published paper, a publishable paper, and we were able to connect with him and get our paper published in a journal. And because of that, this was in the year of 2015. Wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us so far. As of now, 10 years later, we have around 500 plus citations, if I can as well. So now that is my story as to why I am such an advocate for publication. That's one of the reasons. So hopefully this is encouraging you. And then maybe you need somebody to work with you, walk with you through the process. And I'm here to be a support for you in that area as well. So let's talk about writing for publication. Writing for publication. Now, there are three areas that I'm going to focus or center my discussion, tips to write for academic publication. And the first is just making the decision on your path, whether you choose to convert your writing into a book or a journal article. It's just up to you what approach you want to take. Number two, we're going to talk about know the submission process for books or journals. And then number three, use tools to support the process. Okay, there's always a process. Yes, it is. All right, let's talk about writing for publication. Maximize your writing for academic publication. Academic writing for publication is a powerful tool for advancing knowledge, shaping public discourse, and establishing professional credibility. Okay, advancing knowledge. I tell you, one of my no, my committee chair, I would hear her say this, and one of my committee member, it would always say that when you're researching, the goal is to bring value to the body of knowledge, bring value to the body of knowledge. So and then also advancing knowledge. So I would just say, even for me, as an example, my most recent degree that I earned, and well, the degree that I earned at Southern Methodist University, because I'm not sure when you're watching this video, I did my research was on retention strategies for educators in public schools during a national crisis. And so I spoke about influences that or factors that influence them to decide to stay and continue to teach despite experiencing the challenges of a national crisis. And so, did my research. My research was a mixed methods process for methodology, and which means I collected data, but I also used interviews. I interviewed some of the educators who were participants in my survey to gather my data. And so once I, of course, looked at my information and analyzed my information, provided my discussions and my analysis and my conclusion, at the end, I talked about opportunities to further this research. And so that's what we mean by academic writing for publication is advancing knowledge, because the knowledge is there, okay? But we know that through time and over time, things change. And so the goal is to continue to advance the information that we know, to become better at what we know about certain things, medication, how best practices are for in the world of education, politics, right? So just different things like that. So the goal for you as a subject matter expert is to continue to advance knowledge, not just on your research, but you can also be a critical thinker for someone else's research that is in the field that you are passionate about. And then it leads me into shaping public discourse or discussions or debates, right? There may be debate about vaccinations. You can do your academic writing and set the tone. And reshape the conversation regarding vaccinations. What are the best practices? What does the community see? How do they feel about the community as in regards to vaccinations? What is research saying regarding vaccinations? And I'm just going to get off of that because that's not my area of expertise, but we're in the summertime. And I know parents are getting ready to send their kiddos to school. I have grandkids, so vaccination just happens to be in my mind, in my mind right now, still in my thoughts. But it could be for anything. We could just for me again, I'm about ministry, I'm about education, so there could be discussions about best practices regarding those fields as well. So whatever it is, but again, academic writing for publication is a powerful tool for shaping or reshaping public discussion, discourse, or debates. And then the last one, and this is just the last, for me as it relates to the top three. But again, these are my top three. So there can be additional wonderful reasons for academic writing. But my third one that I want to point out is for establishing professional credibility, becoming the subject matter expert. I heard that that term, being the subject matter expert, when I was began to work in education as a teacher, in education as an academic dean, as a campus president. We always look for subject matter experts, which means establishing your professional credibility. I hear so many people that speak to me about the reason why they went for a doctoral degree, a PhD, is because they wanted to become a professor at a university. Well, part of those qualifications and credentialing you as a professor is establishing your professional credibility. They're looking to see, do you have any writings that you have published? Okay. Do you have any type of publications in journals? Okay. So they're looking for that. So again, this is establishing professional credibility. And let me just park here for just a minute to share. You do not have to be in a doctoral program to write for publication. You can start, and I would say start in your bachelor's program if you're preparing to earn your bachelor's degree. And I know at a young age, we don't think about the importance of doing so. I wish I would have. I would be so much further ahead, and down the road with my development in publications. I did not start in my bachelor's degree. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even introduced to me as an option to write for publication in my bachelor's degree or the first two of my masters. It wasn't until I enrolled and took Dr. Bell's class that I knew that there was a benefit as a scholar to write for publications. I knew about publications in my master's programs. I knew about publications even in my bachelor's. But for me, I just assumed that or believed that writing for publications was for professors only, and typically, and that's what they do. So it wasn't a false belief, but it was not true in a sense that it was for professors only. I could have done that, wrote for publications, but I wasn't encouraged. I wasn't introduced to doing so. It wasn't part of my community. So this is a reason why I'm extremely passionate about getting us out there to do more writing and to do writing for publications and to understand the value of writing for publication. All right, so let me go to the next slide. The benefits for writing. To writing for publications. I'm still kind of just in this trend, and I wanted to talk to you a bit about statistics in my own research that I found that one study found that around 25.6% of dissertations are published in peer-reviewed journals. So that's not bad. That's about one-fourth of those who complete their dissertations. I'm saying it's not bad. Should it be more? Probably so, yes. But at least one-fourth. Now, it would have been very disappointing if I would see more like 10%. But then also, I don't have the breakdown, but I saw the breakdown somewhere. I just didn't add it to this Google slide, the breakdown based on race or gender. So definitely you probably would see a smaller percentage depending on race and gender in as it relates to dissertations being published in peer-reviewed journals. And then the National Institute of Health reports that 10.1% to 59.4% of doctoral dissertations are published, and they state in their reportings that the percentage range varies based on the research field. And of course, the National Institute of Health is part of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and so they are the research agency. So a lot of times when you see publications, especially in those fields, you will see the publications located or documented on the website of the National Institute of Health. Let's talk a little bit about continue the conversation of additional benefits to writing for publications. And again, just my research and personal, I would say my personal testimony why there is a benefit. The first thing is the obvious. Well, I don't want to say it's obvious, but for me, is a stronger CV. If you're in the world of education, I just love seeing CVs where people have published books, publish articles on their CVs, again, it just demonstrates their commitment to academics. If you are in academics, you should be creating an ongoing working CV continues to demonstrate your commitment to academics. So, a published paper adds significant weight to a student's academic portfolio, as well as if you're in a faculty. Whether you're a high school teacher, whether you are a middle school teacher, if your loan game is to stay in academics, I'm going to share with you, it is a huge benefit to add to do publications. Plus, as a teacher, I am one. This is a great opportunity also to set you up for maybe summer jobs, summer research opportunities where you can make that little extra money that's helpful for our very small paycheck that we receive. Also, increased visibility. A published paper can lead to invitations to present at conferences, which again, can be like a little side job, which is a wonderful opportunity. Also, it further boosts a student's reputation within their field. You become a subject matter expert. You are seen as a subject matter expert. Okay. And then networking opportunities, and all four of these kind of synergize together. But I just wanted to divide them into four components so that you can look and see what I'm sharing with you. So, networking opportunities, publishing increases opportunities for postdoc positions, again, faculty positions, research oriented jobs. So I talked about, again, I've spoken to friends who have shared that they want to get into opportunity. They want to see opportunities for teaching, which is why they move forward with the doctoral program. Those teaching opportunities, again, there is an expectation for you to write for publication. So if that's something that you're wanting to do, you need to get started towards writing for publication. And then future funding. If you want to continue to move forward in the future, working for a university or receiving funding, research grants often require a strong publication record. And you to do so, then you will can secure funding for future research endeavors, okay? Especially in the field of science or STEM. Let me just say STEM. Let me just put STEM out there. And so, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. So in those fields, and then science, of course, medicine, you just need to have, again, a strong publication record. But it's not limited. Funding is not limited to those type of research fields. There's funding for a diverse research field, education, so many different social sciences, psychology. So again, the more you invest in writing for publication, the greater opportunities you will have for funding. So now, tips to writing for publication. Let's talk about the basic types of scholarly publications. In this particular video, I'm just going to focus on the first two, the top two. I am going to discuss in a separate video conference proceedings, so that's going to be a total separate video. But for this one, the focus I'm going to discuss is going to be for academic journals and scholarly books. Academic journals are typically original research articles, review articles, often peer reviewed. And then for scholarly books, you are typically are in-depth investigations of a topic, often written by one or more authors. It can be done so as such. I talked about even in journals, you can have more than one author. My publication, there were four of us, and it made it so much easier. As a matter of fact, I'm looking now to team up with other scholars and colleagues to do more research and just do a team publish writing for publication. I'm just saying it's just a huge benefit when you are working with other people, the energy, the synergy that you have when you're gathering the information, the data, and when you're working together to, using methodology to be able to investigate the data, to analyze the data together, to come up with the concepts, and then publish your information as a team. It's so much fun in doing so. So if you're out there and you're looking and you want to do something like that, hey, come on, let's get together and put together journals for academic articles for academic journals and or scholarly books. All right, the third one is conference proceedings. I'm actually preparing for a conference right now, and conference proceedings are inclusive of publications that present research papers, posters, presentations from academic conferences. So again, another opportunity for you, and I'm going to do a separate video to discuss conference proceedings. And then case studies. a fan of case studies. I was introduced to case studies a little bit in my bachelor's degree and then my MBA. And in my MBA program, of course, which makes sense, we read several case studies. And my master's thesis or my capstone project was based on a case study. I did a case study on a trade school, and so became a really good fan of case studies. I haven't jumped back into that type of research, not just because I don't want to. I absolutely do, just timing. And so, but maybe down the road, I will. Maybe I can team up with someone and we can do a case study or two together. But a case study is a detailed examination of a specific subject, company, organization within its real life context, aiming to understand and explain a particular phenomenon or a problem. So that's what a case study is. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about, and again, I said this particular podcast, I'm going to focus on publications for books and journals. So let me just focus on first publications for academic books. Publication for a book is ideal if your dissertation is original, broad in scope, and makes a major contribution. Okay. The trending and leading fields, but not exclusive. Okay. Just leading fields that converts their dissertation into a publication for a book are typically in the field of humanities and social sciences. And for humanities, typically you will see books converted that are in the fields of literature, history, philosophy, media theory, culture studies, women studies, genders studies, racial studies. Typically, you will see again the transition of studies, dissertations into books. Also, for social sciences, the fields of psychology, sociology, anthropology, education, criminal justice, and political science. And again, not limited, but just showing you what the top trends are. But if you, you wrote in a different field and you feel like this is a perfect dissertation to transition into a book, absolutely do not limit yourself to your options, to any options. Just get out there and make it happen. At the end of the day, that's what the goal is. Now, when we're writing for book publication, if you are not wanting to self-publish, which self-publishing is an option. I did not include that, the process here, but if you want to self-publish, we can discuss that off, at another time, and you can just reach out to me. So the focus, if you decide you want to publish your dissertation in the university presses and academic publishers, you want to explore and find out what university presses are out there, if there are any that publishes specifically for your field, as well as academic publishers that specialize in your field. Once you have located those university presses or academic publishers, understand their submission process, prepare a book proposal. A book proposal should include, but is not limited to, you want to definitely have an overview, a table of contents, and sample chapters, kind of like a prospectus or proposal, a dissertation proposal, and then submit to acquisitions editors and follow up with them appropriately. So now, for publication for journal articles is ideal if you want to break your research into multiple focus studies or research specific academic communities. The fields, and I kind of put a summary of fields, but then I broke down two fields that you can consider when you are looking to publish journal articles. Of course, field of education, business management, nursing, computer science, communication sciences and disorders, criminal justice, digital media technologies, integrated art and design. Also for the natural and applied sciences, biotechnology, chemistry, physics, environmental studies, and then the social sciences is inclusive of economics, sociology, psychology, sociology, political, and public health. So now, academic journals, the benefit of academic journals is, and this is also if you're doing academic books as well. You will have expert evaluations because they're going to look at your work to make sure that your work, your research matches meets their standard for publication. They're going to look for quality control, validation, and trust to make sure that your research is authentic, that it's trustworthy. And then again, I've already talked about it meets the academic standards, and there's a benefits of peer review. You're going to have the type of rigor that is necessary to be able to say that this paper, this research meets the standards, the academic standards to be published in the academic journal. And the same thing it is for an academic book as well. So now, for journal publication, again, you're going to look for journals in your discipline that's published research on your topic, follow the submission process and guidelines, respond professionally and thoroughly to review feedback, and then prepare to revise and resubmit requests. When we published our article, we did have to revise and then resubmit our request. Make sure that you are familiar with their writing style, their standards that they're looking for. Sometimes publications require APA formats. So if you wrote your paper in Turabian, you will have to convert it over and vice versa. So just know what their writing format is, and just, I would say, print it from the website. Typically, they have the standards available for you on their website. Just print their standards from the website, create your checklist, and make sure that you're following through. You don't want to submit and then have your submission kicked back because you didn't follow the basic standards. All right, so now what I do have for you is a structure. I talked about what you should have, your submission for publication for a book, and this is a simple structure which you can use as a guideline if you are writing for a journal publication. So you definitely want to have your abstract, your introduction, methodology, findings and results, discussions and implications, and conclusion. I have a footnote there. The specific format and style can vary by journal. I already spoke about the format and the style. Also, pay attention to page limits. So, of course, a dissertation is a huge, big project, typically ranges between 150 to 200, maybe 300 pages. In today's world, yesterday world, it was probably up to 100 pages. So just be mindful of what your maximum page count can be when you are submitting your request for a journal. That's why my recommendation is if you can chop up your dissertation into different parts and then submit, then that will be, that's the route that you definitely want to take. If you choose to structure your writing for publication, journal publication. The tools that I am recommending as I'm wrapping up my tips for publication, to write for publication, is um, find tools for reference management. You want to make sure that your reference management, again, aligns with the standards that the journal organization, or with the the company with the journal, as well as the books, University Press, have. So reference management are good for tools. Also, for writing clarity, you can use Grammarly or Hemingway Editor. There are others out there as well. These are just a few that I've jotted down for you to review. Now, make sure that you're writing from your own research, that this is the work that you've done. You just can use Grammarly or these other editing apps to help make sure that your sentence structures your is correct, and it meets the standard and it's up to par. So you want to use, those editing tools. Also, your local librarian is helpful. Um, Back in the day, and I still am a fan of a librarian. So if you can find a librarian who has an English major, it's because typically your librarians do. A lot of them do. Some of them don't now, but some of them do. They will be very, very helpful in helping you with editing your paper, or providing you with sources and tools that will help you with editing. And then for plagiarism checking, you should not have work that you did not give credit for if it wasn't yours, okay? But just use those tools to check to make sure that you're not plagiarizing, you're not mimicking or copying someone else's words. And I know sometimes when you're doing a lot of research and you're reading so much information, you can regurgitate what you've read. And so unintentionally, you can be plagiarizing someone and you don't know it. So now there's some tools out there that you can use to protect yourself against that. If your dissertation is already online, check if publishers require an embargo. Also, know your university's policies and the journal's stances on prior publication. Okay, so for instance, if you've already deposited your dissertation with their scholarly website, on their scholarly website, just be aware of what you can do regarding your dissertation. And typically, you still should be able to publish your dissertation with different peer-reviewed journals, as well as publish your dissertation in a book. But just make sure that you know what the protocols are. Don't forget to set goals. Maybe publication, right there for publication is not around the corner, but it could be somewhere that you see that you can, participate and benefit from, participate in and benefit from. So if that is the case, then make sure you set goals to write for publication, make plans, get the work done, stick to it, and reach that goal. If you are in your master's program, if you are in a doctoral program, you should strongly consider the papers that you have written or you are writing, that once you receive your grade after you've turned your paper in, I would definitely recommend that you write for publication. Hopefully, this information was helpful for you. For more information about E. Study Hall and all things education, please go to my website. My website is endaseducation.com. That is endaseducation.com. Thank you so much again for watching. Please don't forget to like this video. Please make sure that you share this video with someone who you know will benefit from the information that I've shared. And please do a huge favor and subscribe to my channel. Again, thank you for watching. Happy researching and happy writing.